Hi everybody and welcome to my latest video. It's a little coffee time video today, so hopefully I won't take up too much of your time. What I want to talk about today, it's not an opinion sort of piece, but I think it's important for me to just explain a little bit about animal testing on products, because obviously the main focus of this channel is makeup and skincare and things, and obviously animal testing is a big issue, and very rightly so. So I have done a bit of my research, so I am going to be referring to my scribbles, okay, so forgive me. The main issue, and again, disclaimer, I've done my research online. Everything that I've looked at is online. I'm not an expert. I don't work in a laboratory. I don't work for a company. I have gone online and looked into this information. And there's a couple of websites that I will refer you to sort of below this video, but also during the video. So basically, since 2013, animal testing has been banned on products in the EU, and the vast majority of countries in the world ban animal testing on cosmetics, okay, so skincare, makeup, hair products. So all the companies that are from within the EU and sell to the EU and sell to America and other companies, as far as I'm aware, Japan, all these big markets, are able to do so without testing on animals. The main issue comes with China. Now, China, as most people know, is a huge economy and only getting bigger, and it's becoming a consumer economy. The cosmetic market in China, the potential market, is estimated at soon going to be $30 billion. Now, that's a market that most companies can't afford to ignore. The Chinese government insists that any imported cosmetic products are tested on animals. So that is where some of the companies who previously were classed as completely cruelty free are no longer seen as that. And there have been calls for boycotts on some companies like L'Oreal, who are now selling to China and having to acquiesce, having to go along with the Chinese government, who are testing their products in that country. So L'Oreal aren't testing them in the UK or in Europe or in America. It is the Chinese government that is testing their products before they release them to their own market. So that is just to clarify what's going on. One of the problems being that, according to the internet, Chinese scientists, that the Chinese testing laboratories don't have the technology that we have had to and chosen to develop in the West for synthetic testing of cosmetic products. But I did have a look through, and it's interesting actually. L'Oreal, who is often pointed at because they are a huge mega company, they are very often pointed at being a big offender because they sell a lot of products in China. Apparently, they have actually been working on creating synthetic Chinese skin in their own laboratories, which they are then making available to their competitors and to the Chinese scientists and universities, so they can develop testing methods on synthetic skin, which hopefully will then satisfy Chinese government and there will no longer be a need. So even one of the companies that's seen as a big offender is trying to get the situation remedied. There are certain companies who either choose not to sell in China or are a smaller company, therefore don't reach out to the Chinese market. So for example, something I didn't realise, because the Body Shop was sold to L'Oreal, so I would have assumed it would come under the L'Oreal bracket, has actually in fairly recent times been sold to a Brazilian company who no longer sell to China, or who don't sell to China. So Body Shop is back where it was, and back where I guess it should be, no testing on animals. So if you have a strong conscience on this subject, then the Body Shop is an option. Burt's Bees, which is a super, really lovely natural brand, they don't sell in China. Urban Decay as a company don't sell in China. However, they are owned by L'Oreal. So you can see where there's a grey area. So Urban Decay may well take a stand. They don't want to sell their products in China to prevent testing, but they're owned by L'Oreal. It's a really difficult one, and this is why I think it's worth just having me giving you this information. Aveda doesn't sell in China because of the moral issue. However, again, they are owned by Estee Lauder, who do sell in China. how far, if you have a very strong moral standpoint on this, then what you need to do is you need to research who owns your cosmetic brand that you love, who owns them. Sometimes there's 2 or 3 tiers of ownership. Badger balms, they're very popular and seen as quite a natural product. They're not sold in China. Bella Pierre, that I talked about in my TK Maxx video, they don't sell in China. Kat Von D, who, she's fantastic. She's a very famous sort of social media person, tattoo artist, makeup sort of icon. Her brand is not sold in China. Completely iconic products. Love her products. They're vegan because she is a big vegan activist. And Charlotte Tilbury, who's a big favourite of mine. She's a very well-known makeup artist. She has her own fantastic brand. That's not sold in China. Now, again, so as not to confuse the issue, I believe, I might be wrong, but I think I've seen Charlotte Tilbury and probably Kat Von D possibly selling their products in Hong Kong. Hong Kong, although they are part of China, sort of legally and geographically now, they do not require testing. So, and obviously it's a big luxury market in Hong Kong. So if you're in Hong Kong or you see these people who claim to be cruelty free in Hong Kong launching their brand, it's okay, they haven't had to have them tested. Some of the big companies that do sell in China, you're looking at L'Oreal, Estee Lauder, Shiseido, Procter & Gamble. Procter & Gamble, Estee Lauder, L'Oreal own a huge proportion of the open market of cosmetics. So again, even if your favourite brand takes a stand, then there's a chance that their parent company is selling in China. Now, I went onto a young lady's blog, and her blog was www.crueltyfreekitty, all one word.com, and I will list that below. And she makes a point of looking at testing, talking about cruelty-free products, and I liked her blog. PETA, P-E-T-A, lots of people have heard of PETA. They campaign very vociferously against any animal testing, against the wearing of fur. They're the ones that have held quite strong protests, thrown paint at people wearing fur and things like that. But they've also had very successful high impact social media campaigns and TV and video campaigns. So they are a big force in the cruelty free world. And I would certainly respect their website. So their website is www.peta.org. Now that's one that I referred to, and they're constantly updating their list of cruelty-free and non-cruelty-free brands. But they do sort of break them down a little bit. They have icons next to them, so you can see who's vegan, you can see who's cruelty-free, but then in brackets, owned by L'Oreal. So it does give you a really informed decision. So I think that's a really good one, and I would definitely trust the PETA.org website. I am an animal lover, I am also a consumer, and I am also a beauty professional. So I'm right in the middle of all of this. And while obviously I would personally abhor anybody who cruelly treated an animal, I am part of this big machine, the beauty industry. So I'm sort of watching all of these developments with interest, and I just thought it was worth explaining to you that it's not always black and white. So when people say that L'Oreal test on animals, it's not that they physically test on animals, but they have chosen to go into a market which insists that they test their product for them. So again, if you have a very, very strong moral standpoint, then L'Oreal's a no-go for you. But it's just so you understand. I've learned a bit more about this, the situation, researching it. So I'd encourage you to go out there and do your own research as well. So whenever possible, I will let you know any brands that I'm looking at. I'm now thinking that this is a really good excuse to buy some Charlotte Tilbury, because I love it, and it's a luxury brand, but it's entirely conscience free, it's cruelty free. And also Kiko, that I said I'd talk about. I think I'm going to pick up some products from them. They're in Exeter now. Great online store. They are cruelty free and don't sell in China. So there's an excuse to go on a little splurge, hopefully. So look out for the next video. Hope you found this informative, and I will see you all soon. Thank you. Bye.